So, in the context of your book here, Safe Church, how can men in recovery groups ensure that they're not just echo chambers for their insecurity, but are actually places of deep
Yes.
victim-centered repentance? Just describe what that looks like.
Yes. Exactly. We've got to face the core wounds where, again, honesty or authenticity is that first step. I want you to be telling your story. I want you to be being real because if we don't have truth, like we go nowhere. So
Mhm.
yeah, start telling what you've been doing, start sharing that. But that can't be where it stops.
Yeah.
In many ways, that's only where it starts. So many men will come, well, I've been in recovery for 20 years. My wife doesn't trust me still, and I don't know why. And it's like, it's very clear if you spend 5 minutes of them, they don't know why. They're still so disconnected from their bodies. They know the language or they've read the books, but they haven't actually embodied what a safe lover, what a safe man will look like, right? And so it's beginning to get into our bodies. It's beginning to feel, not just know, but feel it and actually engage it. So what we do in our work after our kind of foundational men's program, we have a level 2 program that's men and women together, and they're literally 6 inches apart all weekend, eye to eye, dealing with their sexuality, women who've been abused and men who've abused. And they have to face, I mean, I remember one of those co-ed sessions, the woman says, tell me how you've objectified me in this weekend. And he has to sit there and hold her face and share what it's like to objectify her in real time. And they have to wrestle with that eye to eye. Like that's a level of, oh my gosh, this is terrifying. But we have
Mhm.
to face that fully rather than just run from it. And well, I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm just not going to. No, we have to run towards what we most fear. And so we call these gendered wounds. We run
Hmm.
towards our gendered wounds. Because what happens if I can learn to delight in you as a woman, but I'm not going to sexualize you? I'm not going to, like, we're not, like, no, I'm going to honor your beauty because I think you're beautiful and I can be with you, but I'm not going to devour you because that's my old porn way of being is to devour beauty, conquer beauty, but now I want to honor beauty. And that's so uncomfortable. And I know I write about that in my book, The Sexually Healthy Man. I was in this professional training. This was years and years ago, and we're just doing normal check-ins, and I start feeling so much anxiety because it's this, small group, 8 of us, and this one woman is just absolutely beautiful. And so I'm like, okay, I'm feeling so much. Like he checks in with me, and I just start like kind of vomiting out my mouth, like, so and so is a really attractive, and I'm feeling really uncomfortable, and I want to be present in this group, and I'm feeling shame for my porn use in the past. And he goes, okay, come to the center of the room, you and this woman, and you face each other 6 inches apart and tell her. And I'm like, oh crap. And so I have to sit with her and tell her that I find her attractive. And I have to like wrestle with this in real time. And it was the most uncomfortable, terrible thing. And it transformed, like slowly as I became more honest, her face changed. She began to feel honored as I stumbled around. And then later, the therapist checks in with the rest of the group. He has me face all the women. He said, "What do you guys feel about Andrew?" And I thought I was going to get destroyed. And they were like, "I feel so honored by him." And I was like, "What?" And then he turned to the men. Men, what do you see in Andrew? And they're like, "Holy crap! I would have never done that. Oh my gosh, he's so courageous." And so it's such my shame said that I was, an abuser because I found this woman attractive, rather than no, beauty's normal. Beauty is actually we're meant for beauty.
That's right.
But can you learn to engage beauty differently without devour, without objectification, without trying to conquer beauty? That's the work of changing our relationship with beauty. We're meant for beauty. God designs us for beauty, but we have perverted that design.
Mhm. That's so powerful, though. Even just the language that you use and the way that you describe the difference between wanting to conquer beauty and wanting to devour beauty or actually wanting to honor beauty. You know, huge difference.
Yeah. And I think you speak to the temptation that churches fall into of believing the end goal is honesty. Like, just get honest. And if we're all honest, we'll do better. And like, no, honesty is a part, a necessary part, but it's the beginning. Honesty needs
Exactly.
to lead to repentance. And repentance doesn't mean feel bad about. Repentant means to turn and go in a different direction, to live, act, and behave differently. And how
Yes.
will I actually do that unless, like you said there, unless I'm willing to turn and face the mess, run towards it, embrace it, and process my way through it so I live differently. Otherwise, I'm just going to be in this perpetual binge purge cycle where honesty is part of my purge, but with no real
Right.
change. Sooner or later, I'm binging again. So it's seeing that pattern.
Totally. And it actually makes it about me, where I completely disregard the victim. Right. In a sense, it's about my courage. Look how, but hey, babe, why aren't you excited for me? I just told you, I just was finally honest with you after 15 years of cheating on you secretly with porn use. Shouldn't you be excited? Like, look, like we want a pat on the back. And it's like, wait, she's sitting there bleeding
Yeah,
out.
she's hurting.
And we've created this whole culture where I want to be celebrated for like the lowest bar of integrity. Rather than, no, I actually expect so much more of men because I believe we're so capable, but we have in so many ways been, just treated like little cavemen that we're emotionally inept. And I think men are so capable. Men are so capable of, but we need to unlearn and relearn many things that we've been socialized and normalized in being. Men are very capable. So during our men's workshops, we have men, face each other 6 inches apart for a long time. When is the only time men in our society face each other eye to eye? It's when they're about to fight, right? If you look at UFC or boxing, right? Because growing up, people weaponize, well, you're gay, you're this, you're a woman, you're like, for young boys, we've been socialized. The only socially acceptable thing is us to be shoulder to shoulder watching sports, shoulder to shoulder looking at something. That's how we relate. So we are unpracticed at healthy intimacy. We're unpracticed at where little girls don't have that same socialization. Right. So they grow up actually much more emotionally capable. Right. And then women are normally much more embodied than men with, their own cycles or giving birth, or they're normally more connected with their own body. The men's penis are actually outside of their body. Like there's something in us where a man's work is to become more embodied, and we can follow the feminine to help guide us there.